Oh god, I've got some explaining to do. Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. TARDIS and welcome to 2026, here for a start of the year update and basically a recap on 2025. Before starting recording on this video, I went back and watched my 2025, the start of that year update, and it just frustrated me because I feel like I'm in such a similar place now that I was a year ago. You know, I had all of these plans, these ideas, these things that I wanted to do, get through the back catalogue of stuff I hadn't caught up on, and I kind of feel like now at the start of 2026, it's a very similar situation. I'm still a few months behind on the Big Finish back catalogue. I've only just finished the Season 1 2024 season reviews. I wanted a proper schedule and a proper routine in order to make this channel thrive the way I wanted it to, and unfortunately that hasn't quite transpired. Not for lack of trying, obviously I hope that goes without saying. I'm always basically working on something, even if it's not YouTube related, and I've got a lot of plates spinning, a lot of plates balancing. But I think 2025 was when I realized what I sort of need to be prioritizing with the channel, and I still feel like in order to prioritize the stuff that I want to, I still need to make my way through the back catalogue to an extent. But I think kind of right now the only back catalogue I'm kind of interested in catching up with is the Big Finish one. Thankfully I'm only about 2 months behind at time of recording, which I think is a better situation than I was a year ago, but I've spent an entire year trying to play catch up for Big Finish, and that's really frustrating because, you know, I love Big Finish and I think they do great work, but they release so much stuff. And my first big New Year's resolution for 2026 is to be caught up, or at least have finished 2025's Big Finish releases by the end of January. I don't think that's entirely unrealistic. I recorded my War Master review before recording this. Operation Vengeance, the Bernie Summerfield Dalek Eternity, I'll do that in one video. Sea Smoke and Other Stories, Lionesses in Winter, Causeway, Torchwood Flawless Man, It's a Wonderful War and Other Stories, Dare You, Empty Vessels, Cybergene, Potential Daleks, and I'll listen to the Short Trips Wednesday that wasn't, but I won't do a video on it. So that's 11 releases that I want to try and listen to and have reviews either done or at least recorded by the end of January. And then January is a pretty quiet month for Big Finish. They only have like 4 releases in the Doctor Who range, so that hopefully when we get to February I can at least feel like I'm caught up and I don't have to have this looming threat in the back mirror. And then once I'm caught up with that, I can work on my Big Finish 2024 and then 2025 retrospective. Hi, Winnie. But one thing that I'm glad I was able to do in 2025 was finish the Season 1 reviews, and then once those were finished, I could start working on this space. That is something that I'm glad I have managed to do this year. I've installed some LED lights, I've built higher. I actually have room now for all of the steelbooks and the DVDs and the Blu-rays and the box sets and the books and everything that I've been accumulating over the past few years. Some of it I am actually planning to sell. I've got a lot of Doctor Who figurine magazines with the corresponding figurines, and also my brother moved out of the country recently and a bunch of stuff has gone into storage, which I'm also selling, including some old GameCube games. Some of these are actually pretty rare and kind of valuable, so, you know, I'm making my way through eBay there. And then once that's done, I'm able to properly focus on some really cool video ideas that I've had in the background for the longest time. I've just not been able to have them materialize, mainly because I've just had so little free time outside of YouTube. I mentioned this in last year's update video, but 2024 was a really good and busy year for my work as a freelancer in the TV and film industry. 2025 was basically the same, and I'm incredibly grateful to have done that, but it's frustrating that I'm working so much and putting so many hours into stuff and having so little free time and, you know, having very little rest and relaxation. But then you folks on the other end of the YouTube video, you folks don't really see that. You just maybe see that I'm behind and that I'm missing deadlines and things like that. And that's, you know, I don't want that perception of me out there. A lot of people are understanding, so maybe this is just me, you know, flagellating myself for no reason. But one of the frustrating parts of this is that this past year, 2025, I've seen so many other YouTubers just knock it out of the park and just really upping the standard for this online space in terms of video content. Review of Death are always doing amazing podcasts and videos. Tharies, I think, is just consistently creating just some of the best, like, topical Doctor Who videos. Who Culture are terrific as well. Crispy Pro and Josh Snares. You've got some relative newcomers like DW Fan 91. Popcorn Soups is great as well. The actual Who tuber, for lack of a better term, Industrial Complex, is doing terrific. I just feel like I'm not able to contribute. And it's frustrating because I basically have 3 full-time professions. I'm a full-time Doctor Who YouTuber, I'm a more than full-time freelancer in the TV and film industry, and in ways I won't really elaborate, this past year I've also become a full-time carer. So that's like 3 full-time professions, and Summit's gotta give, and unfortunately I think it has been YouTube over the past year. In 2023, my channel got 2.5 million views over the course of the year, 2024, 2 million, 2025 1.6 million. You know, first world problems, it's still a lot of people and a lot of views in the grand scheme of things, but to see me physically put so much in and so much time and to see those dwindling results is kind of frustrating from this end. And what's frustrating is that I have all these ideas and concepts and it takes me so long to get to them that other YouTubers end up making the videos. I started writing a one fact for every Doctor Who story idea, you know, not an original idea, I'm not claiming I own it or anything, and then like a month later when I was started writing it, Josh Snares gets around to it. I love Josh Snares, they're awesome, but it was like, God, do I even make that video now? At the end of December, Harbo Hooms released a video breaking down every Doctor's biggest villain, and that was a video that I wanted to make in early January. You can see my Google Doc here, defining Doctor Who villains. I've not opened it since December 15th, I've got the list. It's frustrating, and obviously I don't own the idea, I don't own a concept, and I want to stress, I bear no ill will or resentment or anything to Harbo and Josh and other Doctor Who YouTubers, but I hope you understand it just feels really frustrating that I'm putting so much energy in and it feels like I'm being lapped. So I think that something has got to change in regards to how I structure the channel and what I do. Not just to continue doing what I'm doing in a sustainable way, but also just to sort of match the brilliant output and quality of those aforementioned YouTubers. And while 2025, like I mentioned, was a relative low in regards to total views over the course of the year, June 2025 was, I think, my biggest month ever on the channel in terms of views. Obviously, June was when Doctor Who was broadcasting, so there was the regular podcast, there was also the anniversary of Series 1, so I was doing those reaction videos, but one of my most viewed videos of the year was the unscripted live stream segment. I spent 33 minutes talking about Doctor Who blocking because nobody can stop me. And what's kind of amazing was that I had so many people from within the TV and media industry reach out to me and be like, hey, I don't know how, but I stumbled across this video and I really loved it. So I don't know, maybe that's my calling. But my number one most well-performing video of the year was my April video, which was completely unscripted. I had a couple of notes, but it was unscripted about how Doctor Who broke its world building over 20 years, and that was just in response to the strange reaction of Belinda and the Robot Revolution to the robots. And seeing the reaction to that, and also the reaction to my pitch for Doctor Who 1888 and these other unscripted videos outside of the live streams, outside of what was basically topical, basically made me realize that this is, I think, what the future of the channel should be. And I think that most of my views happening in June 2025, when basically, from what I can see, public perception of the show is at an all-time low, basically shows that, in my view, Doctor Who's success and my success are not essentially linked, so I can basically just do whatever I want. So I don't need to chase those season 2 reviews from Joy to the World to the Reality War. I can let those gestate for a little bit, let more information come out about those stories, because the Empire of Death review was very delayed, was not remotely topical, but was my most well-performing season 1 review. A lot of that is because it was negative, a lot of that is because it was a very long and big in-depth video, but one reason it was long and in-depth was because I'd had time to sit on this stuff, and also more information about the production of that story came out. The idea that it was meant to be the raid first, and that was like a year after it came out in an article on Doctor Who magazine, and I was like, okay, this is the missing piece, so I don't necessarily need to, you know, hit the iron while it's hot. I can wait a little bit and just do my own thing and also go back to the classic series. You know, it's really strange that my review of, say, Marco Polo can get way more views than Dot and Bubble. And also, I'm not gonna lie, the state of modern Doctor Who does kind of depress me a little bit. There have been some unambiguous, brilliant standout episodes, like I loved The Well, I loved especially the story and the engine, but a show that can release the Interstellar Song Contest and The War Between the Land and the Sea in the same year, with the same fundamental moral black hole in the center of it, it's really depressing. It's like a massive anti-flex, if there is such a thing. It just kind of shows that Doctor Who in its current form with its current creative team are just fundamentally just failing to read the room. And with Doctor Who essentially taking a gap year now, with the exception of an upcoming Christmas special, it means that maybe I can try and do those, you know, in-depth video topics that I've been putting off because there's a series in active development. Maybe I could redo my revived series rankings, because since that video, Flux has come out. We've had 2 other seasons with Shooting Outwards Doctor, so maybe that could have a revisitation. One other project that I had going on in 2025 was a potential book, but the publisher has very publicly gone under for very controversial reasons, so, you know, maybe I dodged a bullet there. But now I've got all of this material here that I can't put to any sort of practical use in its current forms, so I might have to find maybe another publisher or basically reformat it into a video format. I don't know, I'm gonna let that sit for a while. So the current plan: catch up on the Big Finish back catalogue by January, and then basically review them as they come out rather than waiting for live streams. There's going to be way less live streams as well, unless there's big news or something. This year I've still not been able to get a computer, but that has been a financial thing. That's fair enough. And also with AI and the price of RAM going up, it might be a while until I can get a new computer. And then basically try and follow a bi-weekly schedule where I'm able to get out in-depth unscripted or sometimes scripted video topics or editorials and video essays and breakdowns and stuff. That's what I really want to try and do routinely. You know, really try and focus on one topic or one video at a time every 2 weeks, as opposed to having multiple things on the go at the same time and, you know, chipping away at multiple things. You know, maybe that's the way forward. Oh, also, I had a lot of people asking if I'm going to do a Series 2 reactions for 20 years later. While I did really enjoy the Series 1 reactions, that was just another thing that I was chipping away at, and that was another big part of the workload. I probably won't. I may do a big video about it, but I won't do a weekly regular thing. You know, that was fun to do, but, you know, the videos didn't perform the way I wanted them to. So, you know, thank you to those who supported and those who are interested, but we'll figure something else out. And also, just because I say videos every 2 weeks doesn't mean it's just those videos every 2 weeks. If there's a Big Finish review or an unboxing or something, then yeah, that breaks the schedule, and that sort of just goes up whenever. You know, I still haven't unboxed my Season 13 collection. I still haven't unboxed my War Games in colour. I've got some awesome, really cool box sets there that I haven't unboxed because I also want to do that on camera as well. I'll do that in the next week or so. But what I basically want this bi-weekly big video schedule to be as well is to basically justify the support that I get from my brilliant members and my brilliant patrons. You know, have more proper videos for them to watch early, have more proper videos for them to be in the credits for. What I've done at the start of 2026 is update the pricing, so it's slightly more expensive to be a patron. However, I want to really justify that increased value. I really want to give you more value for what you're getting. So if you are a patron, I really appreciate your continued support, and also just to help to cover the increased costs that everyone's going through at the moment. I am, of course, no exception, but I really want to justify that increase. I've got a rough video schedule in front of me right now for these videos that I'm going to try and do bi-weekly. Some really, really exciting stuff that I really can't wait to dive into. The one I've got scheduled for early February has literally been like 6 or 7 months in the making. I cannot wait to see you folks there, and also get you folks involved and included on that one. You'll know it when you see it. But then the ones after that, one of them is a post-mortem on Season 2, and it's something I literally wrote in July. Like, I've got it to paper, I just haven't had the time to actually manifest it. And then also one of them is a collaboration that I recorded literally months ago with another awesome YouTuber. I just haven't been able to get that edited, and a lot of that is because I just haven't had the time because of the Big Finish back catalogue, and also just trying to balance all of these numerous other plates. And I'm hoping that with this bi-weekly schedule, it means that I can hopefully, you know, just get these out and then get ahead, because as you folks may know, a lot of my videos from the summer of 2025 I recorded from a hotel because I was away for so long on so many other jobs and gigs, and while those do have to take precedent, those do have to take priority, I'm hoping that I can use these quiet weeks and months to create a buffer so that if something like that does happen, it doesn't mean that you folks lose out. There's still some more work to be done in this space. Like, I don't have any war decorations up just yet, but I'm hoping to do that very soon. And also figure out the lighting. This is like my first time testing out a new lighting setup, and hopefully it works out okay. And then once that's done, I could maybe do an office tour as well. You know, just these other extra bits of material for you folks to enjoy. And also, as cynical as this sounds, hopefully this regular schedule of bigger videos means that my video just looks a lot better in the algorithm. And also, you won't have like a dozen videos in a row that are Big Finish dish reviews, which, you know, I enjoy doing, and I know that you folks also enjoy them as well, but they just don't look as good next to the other videos as well, so that kind of makes my channel a bit repellent when it comes to sponsorships, which is really frustrating. And I know that makes me sound cynical and business brained or whatever, but, you know, this is a job as well. You know, it's a job that I'm very lucky and fortunate to have, and I'm really grateful for your continued support, but I do also need to sometimes treat it like a job. And like I said, this past year I've also become like a full-time carer as well, so I need to be able to keep things going and keep these things sustainable in order to keep that going. So that's why being a subscriber, liking the videos, commenting, appeasing the almighty YouTube algorithm, becoming a member or becoming a patron is all massively appreciated, and I am incredibly grateful for your continued support, even when the videos aren't as frequent as you'd like them to be. And it was really great and validating to put all of that work and time into the Empire of Death review, and for so many of you folks to show up and enjoy it and appreciate it. It means an awful lot. And the live streams are always a massive highlight as well for me. I just love doing those. They'll be a bit less frequent moving forward because there's no, you know, new Doctor Who episodes to talk about and react to, but I might try and do a live stream once every month. I think I really want to continue doing that because I know you folks enjoy those and I really love doing them as well. But we'll see how we get on. If Doctor Who is heading towards a potential new wilderness era of the show, then I think it behooves us to do what happened during the last wilderness years and just be as creative and as fun as possible. And I just think it was so interesting and so funny to be at Hooverville this past year and meet some incredible people like Joe Martin and Jacqueline King and others as well. And the amount of people who came up to me unprompted and told me how much they loved the Touching Grass video. You know, I was talking earlier about, you know, Josh Snares getting to a video concept before me and Haberhoom's doing the same. That's the type of stuff I might want to try and do more of. It's uncopyable, you know. That Touchgrass video is indeed my Roman Empire. It is indeed my magnum opus, and let's try and do some more fun concepts like that. The moral of the story for me is to try not commit to so many things at the same time. The main thing I want to do in the short term is catch up with Big Finish and start this routine of bi-weekly videos. And then after that, we'll see how we get on. But folks, thank you so much for watching this update video. I hope you've had a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, and I shall see you folks throughout 2026. You folks take care.